The Earth is our only home. Or at least that's what we thought until recently when scientists discovered dozens of potentially habitable planets outside our solar system. And it's not just because they're so far away that makes them uninhabitable. There are also many other things to consider. But what if we were talking about something a little closer to home? What if we asked ourselves, what if humans could live on Jupiter? The largest gas giant in the solar system has always been a rather mysterious planet. We know very little about it, and even the images sent back by the Voyager spacecraft 40 years ago were blurry. It was only with the Juno probe launched by NASA in 2011 that we started to get better pictures of the planet and its many storms and clouds. However, these photos are still very far from providing us with a complete picture. So, what does science say about this mysterious planet? Could humans ever live there? Let's find out. But before we start, be sure to hit that like button for more videos. What do we know about Jupiter? First off, it's huge. Its diameter is 140,000 kilometers or 87,000 miles, and its mass is more than 2.5 times greater than the mass of all the other planets in the solar system combined. Jupiter's mostly made up of gases such as hydrogen and helium, which form colossal storms that rage for centuries. It also has hundreds of known moons ranging in size from small, irregular-shaped bodies to the giant moon Europa, which is almost the size of our moon. Despite its immense size, Jupiter has no solid surface, and its atmosphere gradually fades into a liquid metallic hydrogen below. Since it's so big, it has a very strong gravitational pull, and scientists think that at one point in the past it had dozens of times more mass and was possibly even larger than it is now. Where did it get all that mass? Well, it's believed that Jupiter captured a large number of smaller objects that got too close. That's why scientists believe that some of its moons and even rings are actually fragments of other celestial bodies. Is it possible to land on Jupiter? As mentioned earlier, there's no solid surface on the planet, so any spacecraft attempting to land would eventually crash into the planet's core. However, this doesn't mean that it's impossible to land on its moons. Some missions have already visited some of them and found that Europa is entirely covered in ice. Scientists speculate that underneath that layer lies a salty ocean twice as deep as the Pacific Ocean. In the future, NASA plans to launch a probe that will study Europa's surface in detail. The launch is scheduled for the early 2030s. Could humans live on Europa? Yes, but not without some serious preparation. We need to consider that it's very likely that life on Europa is completely different from what we know. It might be possible that under the thick layer of ice, complex chemical reactions occur in the dark depths. There could be entire ecosystems that we don't even know exist yet. All the microorganisms living there would have to adapt to the environment with no sunlight and low temperatures. There's also the radiation to consider. Jupiter's magnetic field is so strong that it traps charged particles from the sun and creates a deadly radiation belt around the planet. This means that astronauts trying to land on Europa would face radiation levels thousands of times higher than the lethal dose for humans. To protect the crew, the spaceship would have to be shielded with several meters of water or several centimeters of lead. Such a mission would require highly advanced technology that we simply don't have yet. But who knows what the future may hold? Now, let's go back to the main question. Could humans live on Jupiter? The answer is no. The first problem is that Jupiter is a gas planet without a solid surface. Landing on it would be impossible. Even if we somehow managed to do that, we wouldn't last very long. The atmosphere of the planet is mostly made up of hydrogen and helium, and the pressure there reaches millions of bars, which is thousands of times greater than the Earth's pressure. Such pressure would crush any spacecraft attempting to land on Jupiter. Another problem is temperature. On Jupiter, it's minus 145 degrees Celsius or minus 230 Fahrenheit. At such temperatures, all organic matter would freeze almost instantly. Not to mention that there are frequent storms on the planet, and their speeds can reach 618 kilometers per hour or 384 miles per hour. In such conditions, there's no chance of survival, at least for now. What if we forget about landing on the planet and send people into orbit around Jupiter? Would that be possible? It might seem like a good idea, but it's not. Space around Jupiter is full of dangers. For example, radiation. As mentioned earlier, Jupiter has a very powerful magnetic field that traps charged particles from the Sun. This creates a radiation belt around the planet that would kill any astronaut who ventures too close. Another problem is Jupiter's gravity. It's much stronger than Earth's gravity. A person weighing 75 kilograms or 165 pounds on Earth would weigh almost 250 tons on Jupiter. Such a force would literally crush any spacesuit and cause serious injuries to the human body. Also, there's a risk of being captured by Jupiter's gravity and falling directly onto the planet. Even if we manage to overcome all these obstacles, there's still one more thing to consider: resources. Living in space for a long time requires a lot of supplies. Astronauts need food and water, and most importantly, they need oxygen to breathe. There are no minerals on Jupiter that could be used to sustain human life. And although scientists believe that under the icy surface of its moon, Europa, lies a salty ocean, it's still unclear whether or not it's suitable for human beings. In short, there are many reasons why humans can't live on Jupiter. Too bad, right? But hey, there's always the option of colonizing one of its moons instead. Scientists have already discovered dozens of potentially habitable exoplanets, and some of them might be suitable for building a colony. The most important thing is to find a planet that's close enough to its star to maintain a comfortable temperature and has a magnetic field and an atmosphere like Earth. But even if we manage to find such a planet, it still won't be easy to colonize. For example, on some planets it might rain sulfuric acid, and on others there might be too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. But there's also another problem: communication. If we decide to colonize a planet that's really far away, it would take hours or even days to establish communication with Earth. Imagine calling home and it takes 2 weeks for you to get an answer. Moreover, because of the distance, there would be a significant time lag between the Earth and the colony. This could make it difficult to coordinate activities and could lead to misunderstandings. So, if we want to colonize another planet, we need to choose one that's as similar to Earth as possible. One such planet is Proxima Centauri b. It's located in the Alpha Centauri system, which is 4.2 light-years away from us. According to scientists, the planet might have a liquid water ocean and a dense atmosphere. However, it's also possible that there are frequent volcanic eruptions and earthquakes on the planet. Another problem is that it receives 50% less light from its star than Earth does from the Sun. This could lead to low temperatures on the planet's surface. Despite all these challenges, scientists continue to search for planets that are similar to Earth, and they're optimistic about the future of humanity. They believe that one day we'll be able to colonize another planet and ensure the survival of our species. Of course, this will only be possible if we manage to solve the problem of transporting people over interstellar distances. But even if we do that, there's no guarantee that we'll find a suitable planet. And if we don't find anything, we'll have to return to Earth empty-handed. But maybe it's better this way. After all, it's our home, and there's nowhere else like it in the universe. Or maybe there is. Watch our video about an unusual planet with 2 suns to find out more.